So as we're kind of shifting markets a little bit now, again, it's going in and talking to them, looking at them and saying, hey, this is the data, but let me break down data. It's not just simply a numbers. It says your house is, 350. Well, was that because of the house down the street, 6 months ago sold there? Or are we looking at what's going on right now? And it may be, but it's looking at what needs to be and again, we kind of go back to the HGTV. Sometimes people go overboard when you may look at it and I say, hey, look, it really, if you give me, do let me update some of your fixtures and do some painting, that may be your biggest bang for your buck without going crazy on anything. Yet I've now made your house look fresh. And they're like, oh, really? Like, I don't have to go. No, not necessarily. Like, there's things that I can work with you, and I'm very hands on. Like, sometimes my wife claims that I'm too hands on with like to do things, but I like to get in there and show them, hey, some of these are not hard fixes. Let me come over. I'll walk you through. This is what we can do to, clean up your yard. Let me come over and help you. Hey, let's make the curb appeal come back again to your house where, yes, you liked it. It was privacy on your, bushes that grew up, but they may need to be trimmed down so that we can actually see there's a window behind it. Things like that. It is,
Right.
but it's being willing to get in there with them and not just say, hey, you go do this. Well, explain why they're doing something. And when you do those, a lot of times those fixes, and I mean, even I'm amazed in our industry how often I get professional photos on every listing. It's because that puts your house in the best light. Too often I still see, and again, it's not every agent by any means, but there's, the photos off there. I mean, we have great, cell phones now, but that isn't necessarily going to give you the same image for your house. And so it's little things like that that just help
Yeah.
you, getting in there, talking to them, walking a house with them and saying, hey, this is what I see. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, walk into your room, walk back out of your room, take a second, and then walk back in it. Tell me what you see. Most of the time when they do that, they can say, oh, I forgot that I didn't ever put that outlet cover over there. Or, oh, I forgot that I never painted that corner that, or my blinds. Oh yeah, that blind's broken over there. Okay, now you see what a buyer's gonna walk through the door and see, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's easy fix. That's $10 of my, blinds." Yeah, okay, but you didn't think about that until just now. It's things like that
Right.
that can stretch the dollar a little bit further, and we kind of, and again, it's building in and having people that I know that I can trust that are competitive in what they're going to charge if they can't do it themselves. A lot of people can do it themselves, and I'll tell them, do these things yourself, and then let's have a professional do here. Because if it happens to come up on a home inspection, I'd much prefer us to have a professional, or like literally just changing out outlets or things that they could do themselves, or a running toilet. Let's do it yourself. Let's fix it now, where that's $25 fix from Home Depot instead of having a licensed you know, plumber have to fix it at a home inspection. So those kind of things is where we really focus on saving them the large amount of money up front, and then also later on in the game where they're not getting nickel and dimed to death, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was." Well, if we took care of it ahead of time, it's a whole lot cheaper because we didn't have to jump through as many hoops. So my team and I really work at getting in there, walking every property, talking to you about what's going on in your neighborhood, and setting realistic expectations of like, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, the average listing was 6 hours. Now we need, it may be, 3, 4 weeks, and let's not panic over that,
Right.
and let them know, hey, I'm going to call you every Monday. So, or if I have an update, I'll get you the update, but you're going to hear from us on a communication level at worst every this so
Mhm.
often. And people are like, wow, okay. Like I never had communication from somebody else. Well, that's where we're trying to be different, is just setting that up where when you can expect to hear from us, and we'll call, and then you will answer those questions. But again, it's starting from the day one when we walk through the house and talking to you. And again, the more I've seen people, when I'm willing to jump in there with them, and our team they have a whole different, they get more money for their house. They trust us on what we're suggesting on things, and our actions produce at the end of it. So they can say, not only did they tell me to do it and work it with me, it wasn't on me. Now he's produced the results that we said we were going to work at. And so it becomes, again, that relationship from beginning to end. We were there, we were hands on, we were a partner in it, not just a sign in the front yard.